Have you ever noticed how the rhythm of life shifts as we grow older? For many of us, there comes a point when visiting others doesn't feel quite as automatic or frequent as it once did. Maybe you were once the person who never turned down an invitation, always eager to drop by for coffee or attend every gathering. But somewhere along the way, something changed. You started hesitating before leaving the house. Those spontaneous visits began to lose their urgency. And guess what? That's perfectly okay. In this video, I want to share 6 heartfelt reasons why my approach to socializing has evolved over time. This isn't about shutting people out. It's about embracing the natural progression of life, understanding how energy changes with age, and learning to prioritize peace and meaningful moments. If you've been feeling this shift but haven't found the words to explain it, these truths might resonate deeply with your experience. 1. Saving energy for what truly matters. Here's the reality. As we age, our energy reserves aren't limitless anymore. Activities that used to feel effortless, driving across town, engaging in hours-long conversations, or constantly hopping from one event to another, now require more thought and effort. It's not that we don't value connection. Rather, we begin to realize that our time is precious, and we want to use it wisely. We start asking ourselves, who truly adds value to my life? Instead of spreading ourselves thin, trying to be everywhere and see everyone, we lean toward relationships that bring warmth, calm, and genuine connection. Take Martin, for example. He used to say yes to every invitation, fearing he'd disappoint someone if he declined. But eventually he realized that saying yes to everyone meant saying no to himself. When he began focusing on nurturing just a few deep, nourishing friendships, socializing stopped feeling like a chore and became a source of joy again. Intentionality matters. 2. Protecting peace by avoiding unnecessary stress. One of life's greatest lessons is recognizing that not every gathering is worth your peace of mind. As we mature, our tolerance for drama, gossip, or emotional tension diminishes significantly. You may find yourself dreading certain interactions because they leave you feeling drained instead of fulfilled. Consider Grace, who spent years visiting relatives out of habit, even though those encounters often came with tension and unkindness. Eventually, she made the brave decision to step away from those toxic dynamics. By prioritizing relationships that uplifted her and fostered mutual respect, she reclaimed her sense of inner calm. Let me remind you, you don't owe anyone your peace. Choosing to avoid situations that deplete you isn't selfish. It's self-preserving. Your well-being matters most. 3. Finding joy in familiar spaces. There's an undeniable comfort in being at home. It's where you can let your guard down, wear whatever feels cozy, and simply be yourself without pretense. Over time, the idea of getting dressed up, commuting, and navigating someone else's environment starts to feel less appealing. Raymond knows this all too well. For years, he felt guilty declining invitations, even though he rarely enjoyed them once he arrived. Often, he'd find himself watching the clock, counting down until he could leave. Then, he had an epiphany. Instead of going out, why not invite people into his space, on his terms, in his sanctuary? The result? Socializing transformed from something he endured into something he genuinely looked forward to. There's power in setting boundaries while still staying connected. 4. Choosing quality over quantity in friendships. As we grow wiser, we come to understand that having hundreds of acquaintances means little compared to having a handful of authentic, supportive friends. We stop chasing popularity and instead focus on cultivating relationships that are real and fulfilling. Evelyn learned this lesson the hard way. She used to stretch herself thin, trying to maintain contact with everyone in her orbit. But over time, she discovered something beautiful. The people who truly cared about her didn't need constant attention. They remained present, even with stretches of silence between visits. These are the bonds worth investing in, the ones built on trust, empathy, and shared history. Meaningful connections don't demand loudness or frequency. They thrive on authenticity. Less really can be more. 5. Priorities evolve with time. There's a profound shift that occurs as we age. Our priorities begin to turn inward. We no longer seek external validation or feel pressured to stay socially visible. Instead, we focus on what brings us true peace, whether that's savoring quiet moments alone, pursuing hobbies, or simply basking in stillness. Samuel experienced this transformation firsthand. Once the life of every party, he gradually found immense joy in solitude. Long walks in nature, reading books, and reflecting on life became his new sources of fulfillment. Stepping back from constant social interaction wasn't isolating, it was healing. Sometimes, retreating inward allows us to reconnect with ourselves in ways we never thought possible. 6. Real friendships don't need constant contact. Perhaps one of the most comforting realizations is that true friendship transcends physical proximity and frequent visits. The deepest bonds endure, even when time and distance separate us. Elaine worried that pulling back from regular visits would weaken her relationships. To her surprise, the opposite happened. Her closest friends understood her need for space and welcomed her warmly whenever she reached out. Genuine relationships aren't built on obligation. They're rooted in trust and understanding. Embracing change without guilt. As we reflect on these 6 truths, let's remember that life evolves, priorities shift, and how we choose to connect naturally transforms. Slowing down on visits doesn't make you antisocial, distant, or cold. It makes you intentional. You've earned the right to protect your time, conserve your energy, and safeguard your peace. When you do decide to spend time with others, it's not out of obligation. It's because you genuinely want to. So, the next time you opt to stay home instead of heading out, embrace it as an act of self-care. You're honoring your needs, respecting your limits, and living life on your own terms. After all, growing older isn't about losing connection. It's about refining it. And that's something to celebrate.